A single large-scale AI training facility now requires between 100 megawatts and 1,000 megawatts of dedicated power. So here's the analogy that I need, because I have no idea what those numbers mean. To put that into perspective, 1,000 megawatts is enough to power 800,000 homes. So, dude, we're gonna need nuclear for that, man. Like that's a massive metropolitan area. 800,000 homes. Holy cranky. One of the things I was looking at, I guess we could jump into this while we're on the live stream here, and you guys can come along with me here. I asked the Google AI why we need AI data centers, right? Because that's a huge political issue right now in our country. There's a lot of people that don't want them, right? We're talking about the resources that they're using, the electricity. Our grid can't withstand it. It uses a ton of water, and I'm kind of ignorant to it, so I AI Googled some of this stuff. Now, mind you, some of my questions are very leading. So you could, people say that these AI chatbots, they'll just agree with you, right? They'll reinforce your own thoughts, things like this. But we do get some information here, so let's look at that. This is talking specifically on AI data centers. So I asked Google, why do we need data centers? Because here's what my small brain, truck driver brain thinks, right? Is we just go to Google and ask questions and it answers us. My brain just thinks that like all this is happening in the cloud, right? The cloud holds information and stuff, which I think is like the internet. But I guess it takes like physical, tangible things to process this data. So what it said is we need AI data centers because traditional computing infrastructure is physically incapable of handling staggering computational demands, massive data sets, and unique engineering requirements of modern artificial intelligence. They act as the industrial factories of the digital age, converting raw data into trained functional intelligence. So basically, it takes a warehouse or something to process all of this data and the questions. Like even just the question that I'm asking, right? It took the internet or what have you, time and resources basically to process this. But for me, it's like the internet's been around forever, right? And these different chat databases, I guess, but maybe they were much more small and it didn't have as much information or what have you. The need for specialized hardware, it talks about GPUs and CPUs, right? Traditionally, a CPU, which is like your computer, the little chip that goes in your computer, they're built for sequential processing, handling one complex task at a time. So that's like you and I think that at a very basic level, that's like you and I playing a video game or something on our computer, right? It's the little chip. When they talk about chips, AI tasks such as training large language models or executing high volume inference require billions of simple mathematic calculations to happen simultaneously. So this is where, even recently, GPU prices, which is graphics cards, right? Graphic processing units. People were using this to mine Bitcoin too. The GPU prices were skyrocketing. So AI data centers house dense networks of GPUs and whatever these TPUs are, tensor processing. These chips process thousands of operations in parallel, cutting model training times from months down to days. What a human can do in months, these things can do sometimes in seconds or minutes. High bandwidth memory. AI models require instant access to billions of parameters. AI facilities utilize specialized high-speed memory architectures to feed data processors without bottlenecking. Scalability and unified compute. So when organizations trains a cutting-edge AI model, it cannot simply run the task across scattered independent computers. AI data centers rely on ultra-fast, flat network virtualization that allows thousands of interconnected GPUs to behave like one singular massive computer. Supercomputer. And then they need to scale these, right, to do more complex. These centers allow cloud providers to dynamically scale computing horsepower up or down instantly. Extreme power and industrial cooling requirements. So this is talking about, right, your home PC or standard office server room would melt under the sustained workload required by modern AI. So our home computers are powered by fans. This is where the water heat comes in. All the water that these data centers are going to use. That's what they need to cool the chips, and all of the equipment would melt under the high temperatures without cooling. Dense energy needs. Running AI systems consumes up to 10 times more electricity than traditional web searches or database queries. AI data centers are engineered to handle continuous 24/7 high-density power draws safely. So right here, advanced liquid cooling, because GPUs generate immense localized heat, standard air conditioning is insufficient. AI data centers are built with advanced industrial cooling, such as liquid-to-chip cooling or closed-loop systems to prevent hardware failure. So that's where all the water comes in, right? And this is a huge deal right here, guys. Security, sovereignty, and compliance, right? AI models frequently ingest sensitive data ranging from private medical records to national defense intelligence. Great, lovely. Professional centralized data centers provide the robust cybersecurity firewalls, physical biometric access controls, and strict compliance frameworks required to protect intellectual property and data privacy. So, I mean, this is a huge thing that people don't like, right? These things are obviously ran by people and companies, and all of this data, our information, right? But I mean, you know, Facebook and Google, we've been giving our data up to these companies for a long time. So, you know, whether I'm neither here nor there, whatever, I get it. But I understand why people don't like it. Yeah, again, I'm not sure where exactly I stand on all this stuff. I kind of tend to lean with the people that these data centers are probably not the best thing. So we'll get some of these questions answered, right? Because I asked a couple of questions here. So I said, so can you help clarify to my small truck driver brain, please, why specifically do we need all these data centers that the rich and powerful are pushing so hard to get? My current understanding of how a lot of the AI works is like the AI mode on Google or Perplexity or ChatGPT, one of these bots, right? Which is all done through the internet. So I had Perplexity recently do a thorough internal audit into my personal YouTube channel, which did take some time to process. It took a couple of minutes, right? Are the centers needed for that type of work? So yeah, I led the AI obviously in some of these questions, right? And they're like, yeah, you got it exactly right. So think of it this way. The internet is just the highway system, but AI data centers are the massive factories where the actual goods are manufactured, okay? So when you use ChatGPT, Google AI, or Perplexity, etc., your phone or computer isn't doing the heavy lifting. Your device simply sends a request over the internet highway to a data center, where thousands of powerful computers crunch the numbers and send the answers back to your screen. Why the rich and powerful want to build these? Because this is going to be multiplying. You know, everybody around the world is going to use this stuff, right? Everybody uses the internet. Billions of people are on YouTube. They use the internet, right? So when Perplexity audited my YouTube channel, it had to read, analyze, and summarize the data. It took a few minutes or for just one channel. Now imagine millions of people asking AI to do the same thing at the same time, right? So then they talk about the traffic jam. Without massive new data centers, the system would instantly crash. Tech companies are building these centers so billions of people can do what you did all at the same time without the system freezing up. So that makes sense to me. I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm not an engineer, so I have no idea whether AI is telling me the truth on this stuff or not, but it makes sense to my truck driver brain. So this is interesting, training the brain versus using the brain. So there are two stages in AI, and both require massive physical space and power. So the training, which is what has been happening for the past few decades, I guess, right? Before an AI can answer a single question, it has to learn. To build ChatGPT, tech companies had to feed it the entire public internet. This takes months of thousands of computers running at 100% capacity, generating massive heat and using tons of electricity. This requires specialized data centers just to build the AI's brain. Once the brain is built, every time you type a prompt, it takes a chunk of computing power to generate the answer. The more people using it, the more delivery trucks or service they need on the road. So I've heard of that, right? And now they're saying that AI is training, like it's training and learning from itself, right? It runs tests and all these things and what have you. The reason tech billionaires are pushing this so hard isn't just for fun consumer tools like auditing YouTube channels, right? It's about automating global industries. They are building centers to run autonomous fleets, right? So I know in the truck driving world, even there's a bunch of YouTube creators and people that have brought this up to process live data for self-driving trucks and cars. In fact, my wife and I we watched a couple of YouTubers do Uber Eats or like DoorDash in their Tesla using the fully self-driving mode, like FSD it's called, I think. And it literally drives the whole time by itself. All they do is sit in the seat. They go in to get the meals, but it parks, it turns, and we're talking like parking lots, residential neighborhoods, traffic, you name it. Like the Tesla was doing all of the driving. It was pretty wild. Stuff that people didn't think was ever going to happen, right? I don't like electric cars. I like my, V8 Mustang. I'm not a huge, electric car fan. A lot of us said years ago, oh, that'll never happen, right? You can never have a car drive by itself, but it seems to be that it is becoming a reality. So discover new medicines, check this out, to simulate millions of chemical combinations in seconds. Lovely. I don't know if that can soothe your mind after the different things that we've had in the past, 6 years? Control logistics to manage global supply chains and warehouse robotics automatically. So that's understandable. So then obviously, right, the company that owns these, they can make more money, blah, 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 right? Yeah. So then I asked, are there big data centers already built? Because haven't companies been building these AI chatbots for a while now? And people have been using, the internet to answer questions and what have you for quite a while, right? So it did say, yes, massive data centers are already built. Thousands more exist across the country. However, the tech giants are trapped in a fierce arms race because the chatbots they built over the last few years have completely outgrown their original homes. So whatever that all means. But he says, basically, think of it like this. If you have a successful five truck hotshot operation, so that's like 5 pickup trucks and trailers, you can run it out of your home office in a gravel lot. But if you suddenly explode into a 5,000 truck fleet, your current setup will completely freeze up, right? It won't be able to handle it. So that's the analogy that they make. Tech companies are facing the exact problem right now. Yep. Existing centers weren't built for heavy hauling. So the companies, Google Cloud, as I stated, the cloud, Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services have owned thousands of data centers for decades. So I never knew that. This is where they do stuff on the down low, right? And then we find out later that our food is killing us, right? But however, those were built for traditional internet tasks like hosting websites, streaming Netflix, and storing email. So like what we've been doing on the internet for, since for the past 2 decades or whatever, 20, 30 years. The power problem. So a traditional data center rack needs 10 to 15 kilowatts. An AI data center rack with powerful chips needs 150 kilowatts. I have no idea what to compare that to. I think it'll tell us later. The infrastructure melting point, putting advanced AI chips into older data centers is like dropping a heavy-duty semi-truck engine into a Prius. Okay, the existing electrical wiring and standard air conditioning would literally melt. So that points to like why they need the water to do the water cooling. And they need to boost the electrical grid and stuff too. So it says they're retrofitting what they can. Okay, so you can read this. Elon Musk, they're trying to upgrade what they can, where they can, basically. Other companies are stripping old guts of existing facilities and installing advanced cooling systems because standard fans can no longer keep up with the intense heat generated. Okay, the new mega centers are unprecedented. Okay, the chat bots you see today are running on a mix of these converted older centers and the first wave of newly completed AI facilities. But the reason the rich and powerful are pouring hundreds of billions into construction right now is because tomorrow's AI requires campuses of completely different scale. So this is saying, right, let me see here. Meta is in northern Louisiana, massive facility planned to be up to 5 miles long and use up to 5 gigawatts of power. I don't know what that compares to, right? But so that's under construction. Microsoft AI Center, a multi-billion-dollar site that's in Wisconsin, so that's right next door to me. Slated to be operational online in phases. Okay, Stargate project, multi-state, rumored 500 billion multi-year plan to deliver 10 gigawatts of power. Tech companies are building these, blah blah blah. And then, so then I asked, where are they planning to build these? How much resources will they realistically use? And where are they going to get all the electricity for that? Don't people typically say that our current electrical grid is very much outdated and not able to handle the needs of the future? Right? So that was an argument against like electrical cars, right? People were saying that not everybody's going to be able to plug in their electrical vehicle at the same time at night. It's going to, our infrastructure can't handle it. That was what people were saying. You hit the nail on the head. Your intuition about the electrical grid is 100% correct. See, so this is where like AI just like agrees with you. Yeah, you're totally right. And you never know if it's like true or not, right? But this is what it telling us. So it says, let's see, where are they building them? Tech companies are no longer choosing locations based on where the people are. They are chasing cheap land and massive power lines. Okay, so Data Center Alley is in Northern Virginia, I guess, specifically Loudoun County, is already the data center capital of the world, handling an estimated 70% of global internet traffic. So that's interesting. 70% of global internet traffic. It is expanding aggressively into a massive AI hub. Let's see, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio, and Iowa. And right here, see nuclear adjacency. Tech companies are buying up industrial land, specifically within 25 to 50 miles of nuclear plants. So then it says, how much resources do they realistically use? The resource drain is mind-boggling compared to a regular warehouse or factory. A single large-scale AI training facility now requires between 100 megawatts and 1,000 megawatts of dedicated power. So here's the analogy that I need, because I have no idea what those numbers mean. To put that into perspective, 1,000 megawatts is enough to power 800,000 homes. So, dude, we're gonna need nuclear for that, man. Like that's a massive metropolitan area. 800,000 homes. Holy cranky! By 2030, data centers are projected to consume 12% of all U.S. electricity, up from just 4% a few years ago. So, and then the water too. Traditional data centers use air conditioning, but AI chips get so hot they require liquid cooling. They use closed-looped water systems. So kind of like the liquid cooling in our computers too. Some computers have liquid cooling, right? And it's like a closed loop water system. They evaporate millions of gallons of water per day to keep the chips from melting, causing massive friction with local farming communities. Yeah, so this is where the electricity and the water is where there's massive pushback. And is there waste, right? Is there waste to all of this? I don't know. I guess I didn't ask it that. So where to getting the power? Current electrical grid is outdated. So this is interesting, guys. Maybe we need to invest in nuclear, because like, look at what these rich and powerful companies are doing. They're going behind the meter, meaning they are buying or building their own dedicated private power plants right next to data centers. Okay. So it's Amazon, their nuclear strategy. They bought a massive data center campus in Pennsylvania, located right next to this nuclear station. $20 billion investment to pull 2 gigawatts of clean electricity directly from nuclear reactors. Microsoft signed a 20-year deal to completely finance the restart of the shuttered 3 Mile Island nuclear plant in Pennsylvania. So there's quite a few nuclear plants in Pennsylvania, I guess. $16 billion deal to lock down 100% of the plant's output starting in 2028. So these companies are putting massive money behind this stuff. So when we're talking about jobs and investments, guys, right? Like for your kids, engineers, they're going to need engineers, people that know how this kind of technology works. If the data centers do go through, they're going to need people to maintain them. I know a lot of these companies are promising that all these jobs are going to come, but I think I've seen other YouTubers kind of refute that. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of jobs to build these things, but once they're in place, people are refuting kind of the manpower that these companies are claiming that they're going to take, right? That once they're up and running, they should be pretty self-sufficient, I guess. I would assume that you're gonna need, again, engineers, people that know these type of things, right? I got a young buddy in the Army that's a HVAC tech who works at a hospital here on like the boiler and stuff, right? So we need people that, even if the system kind of runs by itself, they're probably gonna need repairs at some point, right? Maintenance. So even careers like that might be what we're looking at, right? And again, nuclear power, like it's been a touchy subject for a long time, but I think if this is the move into the future, that we're probably going to need to use nuclear. So yeah, anyways, you guys can see Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, all of them are putting billions of dollars, and they're banking a lot of their future on kind of these these data centers, right? Like right here, Meta partnered with advanced nuclear startups like TerraPower and Oklo to build next generation reactors for their Ohio facility. So the realistic reality check. So let's see, because our grid is outdated, the tech giants are hitting a massive wall. Not only that, but politically, right, too. A lot of people don't want these things in the country, right? So that'll be interesting to see what that looks like in the future. In fact, nearly half of the U.S. data centers planned for 2026 are facing delays or cancellations because local power companies are telling them we simply don't have the electricity to give you. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. Tech companies are quietly canceling AI data construction because they don't have the electricity. Yeah, see, so but this is why they are pushing so hard. There's obviously a lot of money behind it, right, guys? And not only that, but with our data, right? That was kind of that kind of came from that video that I saw, guys, right? Like I love that music video, dude. I'm gonna watch that forever. Like it's I like that music video. The animations. I love the movie Top Gun, so I like that video, right? Some people are heavily against it, and so appreciate you guys coming around. If you are watching this video on YouTube later though, let us know what you think in the comments about the AI data centers. A lot of people are not for them. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. And with that, guys, God bless. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Yeah, do I put in the AI robot now? Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Check out the video. Check out the video. Check out the video.